Hello, my dear students and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 30 of a 41 part series of tutorials in Fundamentals of Object-Oriented Programming in Java. In this tutorial, we are going to look at how to search and sort an array, or how to search for an element in an array and sort the elements in an array in a certain order, for example, in ascending order or in descending order. My name is MemeJM, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. Once an array has elements, one can carry out various activities with those elements. So, one of the things you can do, or one can do, is to search for an element in an array. And therefore, once an array has elements, you can easily search for the existence of any value within that array. Therefore, searching is the process of finding out whether a certain element exists in the array or not. The following is therefore a program for searching for the lowest value from the array and displaying it on the screen. So in this case, the output will be 18. So the comment is program for searching for the lowest element in an array. The name of the package or the name of our project is search array. The name of the class is search array, and its definition is as follows, or its characteristics are as follows. One of the members of that class is the main member, the main method, which is public static void main, whose definition is as follows. One is declaring an array called ages, whose data is of type integer, and assigning the elements into it. So the number of elements that we are assigning in this array called ages are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8 elements. So this array called ages is being initialized to 8 elements spanning from index number 0, which is 20, to index number 7, which is 70. Now, to get the length of this array or the size of this array, we simply use the method length or the property length. So when you write the statement as ages.length, you are simply requesting the compiler or the processor to be able to count the number of elements in the array and then assign the number of those elements in a variable called length, which is of type integer. And from there, you can be able to create the lowest age variable and assign the first array element of ages to it. So how do you do that? This statement here is reading the first element, whose index is 0 in the array called ages, and that element is being assigned in a variable which is of a type integer called lowest age. And then from there, we can be able to loop through the elements of the array called ages to find the lowest element. Remember, we have already declared or initialized our lowest value. So how do you continue to search? We can use the for each that we have learned. So like for int age, for in the array called ages, for each age, find out if the current age. For each value in the ages, find out if the value of the current age is smaller than the current lowest age. So this is simply comparing. So this statement simply means that if the value that has been assigned in the variable called lowest age is greater than the value of age, the current value of age, then if the smaller age is found, update the lowest age with that element. So that's what this statement will do. Pick the current value of age and assign it as the lowest age. In other words, if the current value of the memory location called lowest age is greater than the current value of age, it simply means that that value of age is less than the current value in the memory location called lowest age. So meaning, pick the current value of age and assign it as the lowest value in the lowest age variable. And that will continue until when the total number of elements are searched, or until all of them are compared with the current value of the lowest age. And then from there, once that is done, it simply means that the value in the variable called lowest age, the value in the variable called lowest age will be the smallest. And therefore, when the loop is terminated, when the for loop is terminated, and this statement is written or is executed, whatever will be displayed from the lowest age will be the smallest. So the statement to be displayed is the lowest age in the array is whatever is in the lowest age will be displayed at that point. And that will be the end of searching for that element or for the smallest element. The other activity we can do is to arrange the elements in a certain order, for example, in ascending order. Therefore, while sorting algorithms provide a good way to introduce the concepts of array processing, real-world programmers never write their own sort algorithms. That's an important point for you to note. Now, instead, they make use of library methods, which have been written and optimized by programming experts. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, if you are to sort the elements of an array, you don't need to write the entire code for sorting because Java contains a pre-recorded or pre-written set of statements that have been coded and stored as a single method for sorting. So instead of writing each of the statements yourself, you just need to make use of a library method that can be used for sorting. Moreover, library sort routines use sort algorithms that are efficient. Therefore, the Java statement, which is java.atil.arrays class, contains a polymorphic sort method that is very simple to use. Once you have imported this class into your program, you just need to invoke the sort method that has been defined in it and pass the array that you want to sort into it. So if you would like to sort an array, you can use the sort method that is found in java.atil.arrays to sort an array. This is as demonstrated through the following program that displays the elements in the array, then sorts them and displays them on the advertisement or on the screen. For example, program for sorting the array elements. This is a comment. So the name of our program, the name of our project, is package or is sort array, which becomes the name of our package, sort array. And then we have the statement, import java.atil.arrays. My dear students and the rest of the learners, this is the first time that we are making use of this file called arrays, which contains definition of various methods that can be used to manipulate the contents of an array. So you need to include them or have this statement within your code. And then, of course, if you're going to do So you are going to read any values from the screen, you need to also include the import.java.util.scanner. The name of our public class is sort array. Its definition is as follows. We have a member who is a method, which is the main method, that is public static void main, whose definition is as follows. We have an array sorting different ages. So we have this array called ages that has been assigned elements 20, 22, 18, 35, 48, 26, 87, and 70 in that order. And therefore, you can compute the length of that array by using this statement that we have already discussed. That is ages.length. That will return the size of the array, and that size can be stored as a value in the memory location called length, which is of type integer. Then we can write out the data from the array. So we can display the statement that the following are the elements in the array, and then we use for loop to go through each of the elements one at a time as we display it on the screen. So the for loop is just as we have discussed before. So you write it or you initialize first index, declare a counter or a variable called index and initialize it to 0 because the first index of the first element in the array is assigned index 0. Then from there, check if the current value of the memory location called index is less than the size of the array. If the array, for example, has 8 elements, so the length should be 8. Of course, running from 0 to 7. So if the current value of index is 0, then the next statement is to check if 0 is less than 7 or 8. If that is true, then the control will be taken to or into the loop and execute the first statement, which simply means display on the screen the one's ages followed by the index, and then you continue, you loop. So this statement will simply means display the element in that position. So if, for example, the index is 0, then the value which will be displayed is ages 0, which is the first element in the array. Then once this bracket or this brace is encountered, the control will increment, or processor will increment the value of index with 1. So 0 plus 1 will be 1. Then the condition is checked. Is 1 less than the size of the array? If that is true, then write out the next element whose index is 1, age is 1. Then increment the count again, the index with 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 2. Check if 2 is less than the size of the array, and if that is correct, perform this activity. Simply means, or this simply means that with this for loop, the elements will be displayed one at a time, until when the current value of index would not be less than the size of the array. And that's when that loop will be terminated and the control will be taken to the next statement. The next statement is sorting the array elements in ascending order. This statement will be written on the screen that the following are the sorted elements in the array. And then from there, this function or this method will do the sorting. So how does it work? It works simply by sending the array into the method called sort, which is found in the file called arrays. So it is written as arrays.sort. Then in the parentheses, you include the name of the array, and the name of this array does not have the square brackets. Then from there, because the arrays have been arranged in ascending order, then this for loop will simply write out each of the elements in the array as per the order. So the smallest array, the smallest element in the array will be written out first because its index will be 0. And that will continue until when the value of I will have exceeded the number of elements in the array, and the control will be taken out of the for loop, and that is what will bring to an end the program. And with that, my dear students and the rest of the learners, let's see how that program will behave when we code it using the Eclipse IDE program. So, for us to be able to code this program, we are going to launch our Eclipse IDE. Eclipse IDE. Then once our IDE is ready, we are going to proceed and create a project for sorting our array. Once we create our project for sorting this array, we shall then proceed and create a file for it. So we are going to create our project as follows. The name for our project will be sort array. That is the name of our project. And then we are going to click on finish. This is our project. So we can create our file there by right-clicking on it and clicking on new or pointing on new, and then we click on the class. You can see the name of our package is sort array. We can now give our class a name, which will also be the name of our file or the name of our program, and we can still call it sort array. My dear students and the rest of the learners, note that for some IDE like NetBeans, this name might not begin with uppercase. But for our case, because this is a name that we are giving ourselves, which will serve as an identifier to tell the user what our program is all about, we can begin it with capital letter, that is sort array. And then, of course, we can include the public static void main string star within our program. Then we click on finish. So this is the structure for our program. We can now proceed and replace our program as you want here. We can decode it as you want. Assuming I want to erase all that, you can erase all that, and then you can write all the code afresh, or you just paste your program that way. But note, anytime you write your entire program afresh, you must note or be careful to ensure that the name of the package is the name of the project. So this name must match with the name of the project. And of course, you can see that the name of our project is sort array. A is uppercase. So we need to make the correction here so that the name of our package is correct. And then you ensure that the name of the class is similar to the name of our file, or the name of our project, or the name of our program, which is sort array. You can see that S is in uppercase. So we need to make that correction also. S is in uppercase and A is in uppercase. So that is sort array. Once you have done that, then ensure that your program is well indented. So we can indent our program or our code nicely so that the program not only becomes readable, but it also going to give us room to be able to see each of the sections of this program from a glimpse and be able to do the necessary corrections or debug our program where necessary. So that is our code. Then this brace matches with this, and this other brace should match with this one. So there we go. That is our program. Now, the most important thing for you to note, my dear students and the rest of the learners, is this statement here. The other thing you need to note is that my program, this program, is not prompting the user to enter anything. That is why I don't have import java.atil.scanner here. And this program also has no declaration for an object of type scanner. Why? Because this program does not request the user to enter anything. It is simply relies on the elements that are already predefined in the array. And therefore, what this program is simply doing is sort those elements and display them on the screen. Once you are done, you can click on Save to save your program. And then to run your program, you click on Run, then click on the Run menu. And as you can see, once we click on Run, our program has been executed. Our program has been executed. You can see the first for loop here, this for has displayed the elements in the array in their order before sorting. That is 20, 22, 18, 35, 48, 26, 87, and 70. And you can see that is the exact order of our elements in the array from the code. Then this statement here has sorted those elements in ascending order. Why? Because this function or this array called ages has been passed to the method called sort, which is found in the file called arrays. And its work is to sort the elements. So the elements have been sorted, and therefore those are the elements that are displayed using this control structure. And that's why you can see that our code now, or our elements, have now been displayed but in a sorted order from the smallest to the highest. That is 18, 20, 22, 26, 35, 48, 70, and 87. And with that, my dear students and the rest of the learners, you can now close or end it as, and you can click on Exit. And from there, my dear students and the rest of the learners, that indicates the end of part 30 of the series. You can now proceed, watch, listen, and practice the content covered in the next part, which is part 31 or 41, in which we are going to learn on what we call multidimensional arrays. And therefore, my dear students and the rest of the learners, may I now take this opportunity to thank you for watching part 30 of 41 of the series, in which we have learned on how to sort and of course search for elements in an array in fundamentals of object-oriented programming using Java. You can access the rest of the parts in the series, as well as other computer or ICT videos by clicking or tapping on Swap ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write it to us through the email emediswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Let's meet in part 1 of the series, and God bless.